You are listening to The Michael Lodge Show. Wealth, business, and taxes. Oh, yeah, and some politics. Let's get started.
And good morning, this is Mike Lodge. Beautiful, beautiful Monday here in Palm Beach. Beautiful sky, sunshine is out, sun came up, beautiful. I love mornings here in Palm Beach because I'm about 4 blocks away from the ocean. And so when the sun comes up, it's a beautiful sight. You can see the oranges and the glow and it's just coming up over the trees and everything else. It's a beautiful sight. And I love mornings because that's my time of the day. Some mornings are so good, other mornings not so good. Especially when I run out of coffee. Those are not such good mornings. And it's probably that you really do have social distancing from me on those days when I don't have coffee. Not because of COVID, because I didn't get coffee. Remember that the next time you don't see me with a coffee cup in my hand. I decided that this whole week, as we talk together and we sit down and we have our cup of coffee together and we talk about life, but this week we're going to talk about ethics, because every one of us have seen how unethical this world has become, how unethical this country of ours has become. We see it every single day. We hear about it every single day. We hear about voter fraud. We hear about politicians having affairs on planes, going to an island. We hear about all of this unethical behavior. And all of us, you and I, have been touched by unethical behavior at some point in our lives, or we have been unethical ourselves. And there's a whole bunch of ways that we can be unethical. We can be unethical in our procrastination of not getting things done. That affects a whole bunch of people around us. Remember, an unethical act affects other people. It doesn't just affect you. It affects a whole bunch of people around you. And so when we procrastinate and we don't get things done on time, or even things that we procrastinate on and we don't get things accomplished in our lives, is very unethical because we can't do it. We can get these things done, but we don't do it because we procrastinate. To me, that's an unethical behavior. And by us procrastinating, it affects other people that are working with us or are family members of us. When we said we were going to get something done and we didn't do it because we procrastinated, we just kind of, I want to tell you what procrastination words come up in the dictionary when you procrastinate. The dictionary has a whole bunch of words for procrastination, and they're not very good words. Delay, of course, procrastinate, lag, loiter, dawdle, dally, delay. So you all of those words are not good words because we have a choice to procrastinate. So we have a choice to be unethical and not get things done for other people. You really have to focus on what we do, the decisions that we make. It's like getting. I saw this lady the other day. I forget what her name was, but I've seen her several times. And if you ask me anybody's name, I probably can't give it to you because I don't remember names. I am just so terrible at it, and that's my problem. But she was having a tough time addressing the day, addressing the morning. So finally she came up with this way, and of course it affected everybody down the line when she could not get up on time to attack the day. So she developed this this scheme of hers to talk herself into getting up so she would not procrastinate any longer. And what she would do is she would sit there, lay there in bed. She says, okay, I'm going to get up now. And she would go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And on one, she got up. Pretty good. And it worked for her. And she's still doing it to this day. She's no longer procrastinating. She's getting up and facing the day. Because of the facts. As when you procrastinate, it really does affect other people around you. Listen, I was writing a book, and I wanted to write a book on ethics. And the book's name that I finally wrote after 10 years was Ethically Thinking. It's Not That Hard. And it's on Amazon now. You can buy it there by Michael Lodge. It took me 10 years, and every day I would think, I got to sit down and write that book. So I take some notes. I got to sit, and then the next day I got to sit down. For 10 years, I put that off. I took an unethical behavior of procrastination. And then finally one day, 2 years ago, I finally sat down and wrote it and got it done. It's not a very big book, but what I did is I wrote about things that had affected my life unethically. And thinking about ways that we can think about being ethical when we talk, when we speak, when we watch politicians, when we watch the media, when we watch all that. There is unethical behavior going on all the time, and we have got to wean that out. We've got to be able to, like when you're out in the garden, got to weed all that unethical behavior out and practice ethical behavior in our lives. And it's in business, it's in religion, it's in how we deal with our relatives. It's about a whole bunch of actions that we choose to make that affect other people. Remember, an unethical behavior, and I'll say it again, it affects other people. It just is not all about you all the time. But your decision process affects other people. So I want you to think about that. We're in small business. I'm a small business guy. And if I sat around all day long thinking about what politicians are doing to me as a small business person, and you're probably thinking the same thing, that we see unethical behavior. It is the most crude and most disgusting unethical behavior that we'll ever see. People shutting down businesses, shutting down churches, lockdowns, curfews, all of this stuff that is really unethical because it affects other people. Remember that politician, he's making these decisions politically, but he's not making the decisions ethically. How is my decision going to affect other people? Has it saved lives? No, it hasn't saved lives. In fact, it's infected more people with COVID being locked down. Has it saved businesses? No, it's destroyed businesses. Has it helped communities? No. Has it helped the mental health issues of our community? No. Has it helped people not being attacked by people in their own households? No, it's increased it. And so you have to ask, as a good person who's making decisions for his state or for his nation, excuse me, or for his community, his city, the decision that I'm just about ready to make, is it ethical? And is it going to do more harm than it does good? Because so far, the decisions that politicians have made has created more difficulties and more harm for American people across this nation. Not just in your community, but the communities across this great country of ours. So we have all been touched by unethical behavior. In our business, we're being touched by governments trying to control us when they have no scientific data to support that shutting down a restaurant or shutting down a business of any kind helps the coronavirus or the COVID virus to be detained. or destroy. It doesn't do any of that. But the ethical behavior would say, okay, what can I do to keep my community alive and living and moving forward, even though we have this other disease that, by the way, was created by unethical behavior within another country that spread across the world very quickly. So we have all been touched by this unethical behavior, and we ourselves may touch other people with our own unethical behavior. Listen, in my life, and especially in my business life, I have been touched so many times by unethical people. And even when you're just walking down the street someday, and you see something happening, and it's dirty, it's rotten, it's criminal, and if we don't stop and say something or do something, we are acting unethical, because that actions affects you and affects everyone around you. And we're seeing it especially now with district attorneys who are making these decisions that certain crimes are no longer going to be prosecuted. So that decision right there by a district attorney is going to touch so many different lives negatively. Nothing good is going to come out of that. That's an ethical decision that district attorney had to make, and he didn't make it. Because he has a political agenda in mind, not an ethical agenda. And once a political agenda outweighs an ethical agenda of doing what is right for your community and for the people that you serve, you're really an unethical person. And that person you can no longer trust any longer because you don't know what he or she is going to do. It's a sad situation when we see this happening. And we see it every single day. Every single day we see and hear these things happening. But even though we see it going on, that does not mean that we change our way of life and become unethical. No. Sometimes we have to fight unethical people, unethical actions. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you stand up and say, no, that's wrong, I will not do it, that's not unethical. That's making an ethical decision because that politician made a decision to harm your business, your family, your community, your church, your school, based on nothing except a political agenda. Ethics is something that we have to practice every single day. I know, listen, we are all human beings. I'm a human being. And sometimes we make bad choices. We make bad decisions. But we have to look at that and say, was that an ethical or unethical decision? Because you're making a choice of either doing good or bad. And that's the choice that we make every single day as these weakly little human beings. And we need to change. I need to change. I try to focus on this every day. I said, you know what? My goodness, if I'm going to write a book on ethics, I had better change my life. And that's a struggle every single day. Because you're always thinking, what's the easiest way to do it? And sometimes that easiest way is not the ethical way. I love business and I love the people that are in business. And I hear stories every single day because I consult to business and I'm a mediator of business. And in that mediation, I hear a lot of different stories. And in my mind, as I'm listening to some of these stories, I'm thinking, you know, my gosh, that wasn't a very ethical decision. Because now we're sitting here and we have to negotiate back to a good decision. That's a fair decision. But we are these human beings and we make bad decisions and we never think about what we're doing. I am amazed sometimes at what I hear. And when I hear it, I want to blurt something out, but I can't do it because I'm a mediator and I have to stay even-tempered. I cannot express my opinions. I can guide them along and get them to where they need to do to settle the dispute or the conflict. But if I were to tell these people that are in front of me, gosh, you're an idiot. Do you know how unethical that was that you just did? That you did to your partner? No, I can't say that. So I have to have a mediation ethics that says you're there to guide these people to resolve conflict, not to express your own opinion. That would be unethical. So it's a decision process that we go through every single day, and we have to focus. That's why I called the book Ethically Thinking. It's Not That Hard. In other words, we have to think about what we are doing and how it's affecting those people around us. And it's not just a me thing. It's not just me all the time. But your actions, your words, your attitude displays whether or not if you're an ethical person. So that's why thinking ethically is not that hard. Because it's good or bad, right or wrong. And that decision process of what you're making in your business or in your family life, in your church life, in your school life, or whatever it may be, is it right or is it wrong? We've all been touched by unethical behavior. We all have touched somebody by our own unethical behavior. And as we see this unethical behavior unfolding in front of our eyes, in politics, in the media, in church, or whatever it may be, we see it unfolding in front of us, does not give us a license to become unethical. But it gives us the mandate as good human beings to choose between right and wrong, become ethically thinking people in all that we do. And if we live it within our lives, we will see the bad and the good of other people. And when we go to the polling booth next time, ethics is going to be a big part of our decision. When we pull that lever for the person we're going to vote for. Based upon watching them and listening to them and their unethical decisions that they have made in their lives. That's not the kind of people we want in government. That's not the kind of people we want surrounding us. So it begins with us, begins with you, begins with me, in our unethical behavior, turning it to ethical behavior. So that's the beginning of this week on ethics. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about the ethics of words. I tell you, that's a deep subject. And it's an important subject because words are used every single day in our lives. And it affects many people. Listen, if you have any comments, questions, send me a text at 818-252-5682. Again, that's 818-252-5682. I answer all texts. If you want to send me an email, send it to info, I-N-F-O, at lodge, LODGE-CO.com. And I'll answer it there too. I answer all emails that come in, unless it's something bad. But I get a lot of those too. But I will try and answer any question that you may have on business, on ethics, on ethical behavior, on whatever you question. Throw it at me. I'll try and answer it. Go to my website if you want to know what I do doing my day job, which is www.lodge-co.com. And you'll see what I do doing my day job. On the front page, you'll see, on the front page of my website, you'll also see books that I have written, and also a link that we can go to all of my podcasts, and you can listen to them all if you need some sleep at night. Listen, everybody go out and have an ethical day, because today we can do great things. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. This podcast is produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content. God bless. Have a great day. Bye-bye.